Dates. US President Donald Trump has announced that the US is very close to reaching a trade deal with China, though he provided few details on the breakthrough. Speaking in Scotland, Trump said the two countries spoke about it briefly, emphasizing that it's still a work in progress. Let's take a listen in.
We're very close to a deal with China. We really sort of made a deal with China. We'll see how that goes.
Now today in Stockholm, Sweden, US and Chinese officials are set to resume trade talks, aiming to extend the current tariff truce for another 3 months. The focus will be on preventing further escalation of the trade war, especially concerning tariffs on goods like semiconductors and rare earth minerals. According to reports, China and the US are expected to agree on a 90-day extension of their tariff pause during the upcoming Stockholm discussions. Both sides are looking to avoid new tariffs and are working to address the broader economic disputes that have shaped their strained trade relationship. We're once again joined by Spencer Critchley to discuss this in further detail. Spencer, President Trump says the US is very close to a trade deal with China. However, what do you think if these reports of a further 3-month pause turn out to be true?
Well, I guess the pause is good. And once again, we're looking at a terrible alternative versus a less bad alternative. And, the less bad alternative is presented as a victory. Speaking of China in particular, it's a frightening example of the opportunities I believe the Trump administration is squandering. While China is leaping ahead in solar panels, other forms of alternative energy, electric vehicles, all kinds of other forms of advanced technology, and its government is spending enormous sums funding research, the United States is doing the opposite. Trump is attacking alternative greener energy, which is obviously necessary for the future, not just to protect the environment and slow climate change, but because of the enormous amounts of energy that will be demanded by AI and other needs in the future. Trump's also hostile to electric vehicles. And meanwhile, he's trying to bring back sort of 1950s, 1960s style manufacturing, the economy of his youth long ago, to the United States. So while he's chasing the past, China is investing in the future. And I think that this does not bode at all well. And trying to fix any kind of trade imbalance, just like with Europe, by imposing these tariffs strikes me also as exactly the wrong way to go. In many cases, these trade deficits that the United States has with other countries are actually to America's advantage. If the other country is providing lower profit margin goods to us at lower costs than the United States could or would want to match, it's like a large corporation outsourcing many of the inputs it needs to lower cost suppliers. It would be foolish for that corporation to bring everything in-house. It would actually shrink the profits of that corporation. And with countries trading each other, it's very similar. But Trump seems to have this simplistic view of trade deficits, and from his point of view, money going out is bad, money coming in is good, and that's about as far as his understanding seems to go.
Spencer, as we previously just discussed, leaders have realized that they do need to flatter Trump in order to get deals over the table. However, China here is different. China faces a different deadline to the other countries of August the 1st. What leverage does China have over the United States? What makes China a sparring partner with the United States in regards to this tariff war?
Yes, I think that's a very good point. China's negotiating position is very strong. To some extent, of course, China does depend on the United States as a gigantic market, since about 70% of the U.S. economy is consumption, and China provides a great share of the consumer products going into the United States. But on the other hand, China, as I was just saying, is outpacing the United States at the moment in many key industries. It's rapidly moving away from its recent history as a low-cost producer of consumer goods and low-cost inputs to more advanced economies, and investing heavily and seeing the payback from advanced technology and higher value-added industries. Also, I think China has shown a willingness to bear pain over the long term in order to achieve its objectives. Of course, they have a great advantage living under an authoritarian government, since the complaints of the people of China matter very little. The United States, as a democracy, can't bear that level of pain the same way. And I think, frankly, many Americans, aside from the fact that they do still at least live in a democracy, have just become unused to having to deal with long-term hardships. So all of those things mean that China is in a stronger negotiating position even than the European Union might be, since they've been suffering from poor economic growth lately, and they also have to worry about Trump's threats to reduce his commitment to NATO or even abandon NATO.
Yes, indeed, Spencer, do stay with us. We have some more updates to discuss. We now move over to the